some more social apps or applications of Wildland that, or multi-user apps of Wildland that we can think of. This is not implemented yet. Unlike those examples that are useful for a single user to organize, say, knowledge, which are very powerful anyway, we also think that there's lots of opportunities for creating multi-user apps. And one example, sorry, it's hardly readable on this projector, but this is an illustration of an app that tries to be, in a way, like a combination of Facebook and some events directory. Like here in Poland, in Warsaw, we have a few web services or apps like Going or Go Out that show you a list of like concerts or festivals every day. But then people still mostly want to use social web services like Facebook because they value information on which event there will be people that they are friends with, more than just dry information what events there are. And apparently, I was told, Facebook provides this kind of functionality. So we can imagine we could implement something, but of course Facebook has all those problems, not just with privacy, also with ability to do denial of service for select users. Examples are known. If for whatever reasons Facebook will think you should not be allowed to log in, they will not let you log in, and then you don't know what to do in the evening or whatever. So here's an alternative approach. This is a user's forest. And then a user is signed up to some social club directory or forest. And this is, again, a Wildland forest that has containers representing all the users that sign up there. Maybe these are, whatever, jazz concerts, funds. And so we can imagine that the user, by having a bookmark, so a bridge manifest to this other forest of the social club, the user or an app running here can by browsing the forest here, especially using this jumping between forests that Marek showed you earlier, can actually go and see and go to the other user's forest or parts of the forest that the users decided to make public to whoever they decided to make public. You remember how Marek was creating a cat sharing container, and he created several backends. One backend was for private access and another was for public access. And this could be any kind of backend for any kind of access. Here we abstract from this. So let's say we have a simple Python script here that traverses all those forests and looks at which of the events today the owners of those forests bookmarked as interesting. Perhaps by adding some label, so a path to the container representing the event in the forest. And then it gathers it here and adds a label to this events container in the user's forest, representing, say, a jazz concert tonight, by adding the ID of the user from here, and the user from here that bookmarked it too. it bookmarked it also. So now by doing this for loop, which is a simple operation on this file system, again, provided all those users exposed parts of the forest through an infrastructure that lets this user access it, which we can agree will be the case for this social app case. It can list the events that has at least, I don't know, 3 users from this group, or maybe 50 users. We can achieve all that without any centralized server, without agreeing on any centralized infrastructure, because this user might be using a public S3 bucket, this one might be using IPFS to expose this part of the forest, these guys might be using part of the service provided by this group. This is all up to the user. Everything is in the hands of the user, however the user or the software stack that they will deploy. Again, we don't expect users to manually configure all the manifests, but in essence they could. Wildland, by separating this information layer, the forest, from this infrastructure layer, let the users do whatever they want, and still provides this, still allows for agreeing on a convention, how to say, coordinate bookmarking the containers representing events, say, to let that happen. Even more, we can imagine the user is part of another group, some other social group, which also might be grouping users with some other interest, and they also are tagging containers with some interesting events today. And maybe the user will never want to know anyone to know that this user is part of this and this group. So we'll never ask anyone for intersection of these two selections. The user would do the intersection all by itself locally here. And this is a really powerful application, I believe, because essentially we have we can shape and decide about the algorithm that selects the social events for us, but all is in the hands of the client. So that's one more comment. Of course, finding of those social groups can all be done through those bottom-up directories. Maybe I don't know that there is a social club of whatever. I will find some community directory of interesting social clubs, and then I will find this one. Again, this could be done in a bottom-up way. No centralized entity is needed to control all this, which we believe will have some very interesting, would provide some interesting property in our evolving world today.